Welcome everybody, this is Spring Clean Your Body. I'm going to make the very complicated simple tonight. Can I get an amen from somebody? Amen. All right, so let me just talk about spring cleaning. The reason we named it spring cleaning, you guys ready? The reason that we call it spring cleaning is because, is there anybody that's got a desk or an area in your house or something that is just like you don't even see it anymore? Like you walk by it, it's like it's not something you're proud of. It's like if friends came over, you probably close the door to that room or something like that. Anybody? I'm getting a lot of shaking heads. So you get an idea. I walked in this morning, and by the way, to my team, whoever cleaned it, my desk was a mess. They said that where there are no oxen, the trough is clean, but where there are oxen, much work gets done. So the Bible tells me that it's okay. But the point is, I walked in, someone cleaned my desk, and it was completely in order. Like you could actually see the color of the desk, which you couldn't see before today. That was awesome. The problem with it is, like my desk and my life, because I just run so hard and so fast, that I was just going, and it really, a lot of my desk and the areas of my desk, I just couldn't even see that it was in disarray anymore. I don't have time, I gotta go, right? And so your life is a lot like that. You'll have areas in your life, parts of your health, parts of how your body is functioning, and because you're busy, because it doesn't actually have a massive symptom to you, whatever else, we just keep going and going and going. Does that make sense? That's not a really good way to have a desk. It's also not a really good way to have a life. It's also not a great way to have a health that you want to be proud of for your lifetime. And watch this. How does it feel when I walk into my desk right now and my desk is completely organized, clean? There's only just one stack of things that still need to be going through, but everything's in order. How does that feel? Right? Now that place in your house, imagine if that was completely organized, everything put where it needed to be, and everything very, very clean. How would that feel? Wonderful. Right, so with your health, that's basically what we're going to do tonight. Got it? And like I said, the reason that we don't go through detoxes and protocols and stuff like this is it's seemingly complicated, but it really is not. And I go through it every day, and my wife probably a lot more than I do, but it's not complicated. We generally make things a lot more complicated than they are, right? And so, but let's talk about the 7 different detox pathways. And this is very simple, we're not going to make it complicated, but let's just start with skin, okay? Skin's a detox pathway. How does toxins get out of your body through your skin? Sweat. Sweat, number one. What's the one thing that all cancer patients that we've ever seen have in common? Sweat. They do not sweat. So first of all, my guests, if you don't sweat, you need to make that happen immediately. Got it? It is a detox pathway, and if it's failed, you are in trouble and you don't even know it yet. Got it? And one of the first things we do is we put people who've been diagnosed with that in like an infrared sauna to try and get that started. Kimberly, when we first were together, she never sweat. And I remember I told her we'd go to the treadmill at the gym, and she was running and running and running and running. And one day she came home and she goes, "Oh my gosh." She goes, "I stink, it's terrible." What's interesting was she was only sweating under one arm, and she wasn't sweating under the right arm. If you know anything about my wife, she was in an auto accident, completely dislocated permanently her arm. A drunk driver hit her, and they had to rebuild her shoulder. And all of the sympathetic nerves firing all the time decreased her ability to actually fire through and cause her to sweat under this arm. And so she's had to go. Now, when she turned 40, it started to shut down again. And so she had to go through, we did infrared sauna, we did treadmill, we did all that stuff, and now she sweats just like everybody else, and she does great. If you don't sweat, you need to make sure it happens. So sweat is one thing, but it also goes through the oil glands, not just sweat glands, but oil glands, right? So the pungent stink that you have sometimes, that's oils as well. It's not just sweat, but it's oils. But lots of stuff. So the way that the skin works is that it's a barrier, but it also passes stuff through it. Now watch this. What are some skin conditions associated with your body having another area, for instance, like the colon? If the colon is not detoxing like it should, then all of a sudden your skin has to get rid of more stuff because one of the pathways is gone. So now you're going to have a lot of toxins coming through your skin, which may actually create some skin conditions. What are some pretty common skin conditions people get diagnosed with these days? Eczema. Eczema. So why is it working on the gut helps skin conditions? And by the way, here's a plug for metabolics. Raise your hand if you've done metabolics in the office. 100%, we've never seen a person do metabolics that did not have their skin conditions clean up. period, gone. People, some lifetime eczema and stuff like this. And so why? It's because it works on getting all the detox pathways opened up, and your body actually starts to stop pushing thrust through the skin, and all of a sudden eczema goes away. Got it? Make sense? Good stuff. That's skin. Move to the next one, lungs. Okay? This is the chronically bad breath stuff, right? Who here has had a sip of wine or a couple beers or something, and then you can actually literally smell that? It's coming off. It's because your lungs are a detox pathway. That's how police officers know if you've been drinking. They have you do a breathalyzer, and the off gas of the detoxification of the lungs is how you actually tell how much alcohol, blood alcohol level somebody has. And so we're detoxing from our lungs. Got it? Now, if you have another pathway, say the colon or the skin or your lymphatics, liver, something starts to back up, and your lungs start actually pushing more and more off, what are some conditions of the lungs that you see? COPD would be one, yes. But also, some of you guys have chronic lung issues, like chronic lung infections. You have bronchitis. You've got coughs and stuff that happen a lot. You have chronic sinus infections, things like this. This is all part and parcel of the detox pathway of the lungs being overrun, if you will, by other pathways that are not working like they should. Got it? Everybody with me? Easy stuff. We'll talk about mold and some other things that affect lungs here. But next is kidney, okay? Lots of things affect kidney because your kidney filters the blood. So how does the kidney work? Blood goes through the kidney. The capillary beds in the kidneys are extremely thick. Like, it's all capillary beds because it's filtering it. That's why if you actually get a kidney ruptured, you don't usually make it. I mean, you'll bleed out before somebody can get to you because there's so much blood that goes through the kidneys. For instance, it detoxifies just about everything, but a friend of ours had some amalgam fillings worked on. This was years and years and years ago. And she didn't know anything about the amalgam protocol, and I'll go through some of that tonight. The pre-amalgam protocol, you never just run out and get your amalgams taken out. But she got an exposure to the mercury fillings, and what she didn't realize is it caused kidney damage that started the downward spiral of her kidneys until they failed, and then she was on dialysis and had to have a kidney replacement, and it was from her dental work. And it's documented. And why? Because the kidneys were already filtrating as much toxins as they could, and it wasn't the fillings by themselves. The fillings were the straw that broke the camel's back. But if you know anything about a camel, they have pretty strong backs. A straw won't break a camel's back, but if you put 1,000 pounds on a camel and then throw a straw on there, it might break their back. It's the same thing. Make sense? And I'll go through that a little bit more as we go. But the colon, this is where a lot of stuff happens. This is where a lot of detox happens. In fact, actually, although your liver is your major detox organ, the detox that your liver does comes out of one of two places: through the urine and the kidneys, or the colon and the stool. Got it? And so it's going to go one of two places, but the colon, what ends up happening is, and we'll talk about this some tonight, is between past antibiotic use, between the sludge of American standard diet, through acidic foods, through food additives, through sugar, through small bacterial overgrowth, you basically get a sludge layer. Like, have you ever seen like old diesel oil? You ever seen it? It's thick and black. Like, it looks like cold molasses. Imagine your colon being lined with cold molasses, dark, thick. Like when you dissect cadavers, it looks like that, okay? So imagine if you lined your colon with that, how well would your colon work? Now, what does your colon do? It actually detoxes, so it pulls a lot of stuff out. It actually exudes a lot of stuff into the feces and then gets rid of it. And most of your bile that your body uses to get rid of stuff through your liver, phase 1 and phase 2, goes into stool that actually is eliminated in the morning. Got it? So about 85% of that liver detox happens at night. And so what are some things we see when a person's colon is not doing well or it's overloaded as far as detoxification? What are some conditions? Constipation is a big one. First of all, what does constipation even look like? Like if you actually ask your medical doctor, when would they diagnose you as constipated? Like how long would you have to go? A couple days, 3 days, 4 days, something like this. Well, how often should you go to the bathroom? Every day. Most of you guys will say every day, but this is what I'm going to tell you. It's not every day. It's wrong.
several times.
We say 3 trains in, 3 trains out. And if you're not getting that, then things are backing up. Got it? And it really does. In fact, what you'll see is if you're not having bowel movements pretty close to 3 days, or however many times you eat a day, some of you guys are doing intermittent fasting, so it's 2, what you'll see is over time, your colon will actually start to expand. And when it starts to expand, it starts putting pressure on the rectum and anus, and then what do we start seeing with conditions? So hemorrhoids, we start seeing internal hemorrhoids and external hemorrhoids. These are just dysfunctions of the body that you see that are expressions of a system that's not working very well. Everybody with me? People think we're magicians getting rid of hemorrhoids and stuff like this in the office, but really it's what? It's just getting healthy. Got it? We don't treat hemorrhoids. Although I had a guy one time walk out from the adjustment, had 50 people who were waiting for adjustment. He's like, this is the best hemorrhoid doctor I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, please don't tell people that. They'll ask me to look at stuff. But listen, so we just have to get colon healthy. What's next? Lymphatics. Okay, what are lymphatics? Come on. They're lymph nodes. So what is so your immune cells scour your body. They find basically bacteria and viruses and bad stuff or whatever you want to say, and they gobble it up. And then once they get a full tank and they've got something in there they got to get rid of, they basically just go into the lymphatics and then they go through and then they go back and they actually disposed of safely. Okay? But here's the thing, some of you guys, lymphatics, they're not moving and they get backed up. You see this very, very clearly with people who are like swollen, they're bloated. A lot of you guys have really stuck lymphatics and you'll have like, you can even feel the chain of nodes here. Sometimes you can feel it in the breast. Sometimes you'll be bloated. Some of you guys will be on a plane and every single plane ride, it used to not be this way, but now your feet and legs swell every single time you get on a plane. Sometimes that's kidney, okay, sometimes that's lymphatics. And, if you go onto Herb Family Friends on Facebook, Dr. Kimberly did a whole video on how to do lymphatic brushing, just dry brushing. Just get a lymphatic dry brush and just, you always just brush it always towards the heart. And it'll actually get that moving. Got it? Also a rebounder. What's a rebounder? Little baby trampoline. So when you bounce like this, it actually gets lymphatics moving. Some of you guys, that's the most exercise you've done in like 3 years. And so we really want to start moving. What else? Just regular what? Walking, exercise, all the rest. Gallants up here started doing CrossFit. Guess what's happening to their lymphatics? They're really working really good. Got it? So good stuff. Blood. Now here's the thing. I bring up blood. Your body's always using that as the transport for toxins, getting rid of them, getting out of the system. But a lot of you guys have blood that is toxic itself because it's dehydrated, it's full of sugar. We get high blood sugars, which actually makes it thick as well. Also, if you have a higher blood sugar level over time, guess what happens to red blood cells? Red blood cells get glucose attached to them, and then they can't carry oxygen, and then guess what happens to peripheral extremity? We start getting neuropathies and tingling and things like this. Got it? And so blood is a big part of this. Also liver. Now liver, there's a couple different ways that happens. I'll talk about that tonight. But your liver literally is where things really make it happen. Like your liver is the detox center of your body. It's also why if you eat liver, like cow liver or whatever else, chicken gizzard liver and stuff like this, it tastes really different than meat, doesn't it? And it's because it's full of bile and all the rest, but it's got high amounts of iron in it. And why? It's because it's using that to clean the blood and all the rest. Make sense? Hi, guys. So liver. So we're going to go through a bunch of these. Let's just start with this one. 2 phases. Everybody say 2? 2. Phase 1. Okay, so phase 1 through the liver is intracellularly, okay, and it's going to be where we really make fat-soluble toxins and we start attaching things to them and we start breaking it down. Got it? That's just phase 1. I won't get into all the cellular biology and physiology of it, but that's phase 1 in a nutshell. Phase 2 is where we actually create the fat-soluble into a water-soluble, and if it's water-soluble, what can I do to it? I can pee it out, I can poop it out, and I can get rid of it. Got it? So that's basically, in a nutshell, what that happens. And I want to talk about that just briefly here, okay? So phase 1, inside the cell. Everybody say inside the cell. Well, that's as complicated as we can get. Just say inside the cell. We're not going to get nuts to it. Now, to give you an example, Alcohol dehydrogenase. This is how we break down alcohol, right? If you don't have very much of it, you're the lightweight that takes one little sip of wine, you're like, ooh, goes right to my head, okay? Anybody else like that? It's because you don't have much alcohol dehydrogenase, and it usually means if you're super, super lightweight, it means that your liver is not producing a lot of that, and people can like make whatever excuses you want, but you should actually do really well with that, so you should be able to drink a glass of wine and not feel like you need a nap. Okay, and so if you can't, you're probably one of the ones that needs a liver detox, okay? So just bear with me for a little bit. But it requires zinc. Now what happens is, if you don't have zinc, then guess what it means? It means that alcohol dehydrogenase can't work, so it means that some of you guys will just be zinc deficient and not dehydrogenase deficient. Got it? Alcohol dehydrogenase. Got it? So it takes nutrition to detox. Everybody say it takes nutrition to detox. If you don't have the nutrition, then you don't detox. Okay? Second example, okay? To get rid of some other things like molybdenum and all the rest, aldehyde oxidase requires molybdenum, which is a lot in beans. Yes?
Talk about beans, but you got a picture of peas.
I know, I didn't make it. I know, I didn't make it. But it actually, when you look at it, it's in the peas too. It's just higher in legumes. So now, thank you for seeing that, Steve. Thank you, appreciate that. Now, phase 1 blockers. So the things that keep most people from going through phase 1 liver detox is not having the nutrition. What's the biggest blocker to phase 1?
Sugar.
Just standard American diet. You don't have the nutrition. Now watch this. When you eat sugar, guess what it does to all the other nutrients in your body generally? It sucks them out. It's actually a negative nutrient. If you eat a lot of sugar, it actually depletes your minerals and vitamins. It doesn't just like stay neutral. You lose them when you eat sugar. Got it? So if you eat a lot of sugar, even if you are eating some healthy things, it starts to peel it off of you. Okay? But this is the biggest halter, the blocker to phase 1 detox, being able to get things broken down through the system through like those alcohol dehydrogenase. Got it? Now, phase 2, okay? Now I'm going to get a little complicated. Everybody look at me. Relax. I'm going to go through, this is the only scientific crazy things, but I want you to at least know the process a little bit, okay? Everybody say cytochrome.
Cytochrome.
P450.
P450.
Okay? And the cytochrome P450 system is basically just a system that runs along the chain of molecules. It's also intracellularly, but it runs along the chain of molecules, and it goes through an activity called conjugation. And all it does, you can read it right there, is it actually changes the chemical groups. It actually changes the size of it, and the polarity is changed so it can drag it out of the system. Got it? It's like if you were in a boat and there was a lot of trash and there were some bigger pieces of trash, it'd be like putting a handle on it and having it where it would come to the boat. So it'd come right to the boat and have a handle. Everybody get it? That's basically how it works. But if you don't have that cytochrome P450 system working, then guess what? It's a long way off the boat. I can't reach it, and then every time I try to grab it, I can't get it. Got it? That's basically how this works, okay? Now, the way that it works, okay, is it uses antioxidants like glutathione. Everybody say glutathione. Glutathione. Glutathione's like your grandfather of all antioxidants, okay? It uses that, and every time that you actually get rid of one molecule of a toxin, you use one molecule of an antioxidant, okay? And I want you to think about it like this. It's like a bank account, okay? Let's say you got $100, okay? And then someone comes along and they say, well, we're sorry, your taxes this year are $120. Wouldn't that be nice? Don't even get me started. I have something to say, but I'm not going to say it. Jesus, ride my tongue. So watch this. You still got to pay it. The only thing that's sure is death and taxes, right? So you got to pay it, but all you have was $100. The crazy part about how your detox system works is you don't have symptoms. You're not going to bleed rectally the day that you can't pay the bill. You're not going to have a headache the day you can't pay the bill. You're not going to have any of those things. It's just like if you didn't pay your taxes today, today's tax day, you're not going to jail on Monday, right? But eventually, you got to pay that or something's going to happen, yes or no, right? Same thing with your detox system. What ends up happening is, though, if you only have enough molecules to pay for part of it, then the ones you couldn't pay for They actually cause free radical oxidation. And that's when we start having your cells break down, we start having intracellular aging, but also extracellular aging. Things start to break down in general, like skin. We start to get wrinkles inside, wrinkles outside. We start to have inflammation. We have inflammation in the heart and the vessels. This is what happens when you do not have the bank account to pay for the stuff that you're exposed to. The problem with it is you don't get it now, you get it when? Later. And what most of you guys don't realize is you're only looking at, like if I get a symptom today, none of you guys generally look past the last 3 days. If it wasn't in the last 3 days, you're like, it couldn't have been it. And I'm going to prove that to you, okay? Much of the time, we are unaware of even being exposed to the chemical stuff that we eat, breathe, and touch. However, the work of detoxification is still using up energy in what? Nutrition. It's still using nutrition, okay? And a real problem occurs when the system has insufficient resources, okay? Now watch this. A good example. Let's say you go to work at a new place, okay? Now if I showed you guys, and I don't know if you can see it, but that's like a vent. There's none of those that look like this here. But if you saw a vent like this, what do you see around the edges at the top of that vent? Just a little bit of mold, right? Now most of you guys, you got a place, you're so excited to get this job, you're not really looking up and doing vent checks, okay? But especially if you work in a school, the majority of schools have some type of mold infestation. Could be, there's a lot of hotels that have them. There's just a lot of different, there's some homes for sure. But watch this, you go to work there and you maybe even see it 6 months later. And it's no big deal, you don't have any symptoms. Got it? So guess what? If most people don't have any symptoms working in there, guess what the people who own the building are going to say? It's not a problem, right? Maybe we'll do a little bit of work on the ducts eventually or something like this, but it's okay. There's some people have headaches, but it's probably not that. Got it? Now watch this. But you get a new apartment, or you carpet your house or something, and you get a new carpet. What's that smell like? Aromatic benzenes, formaldehyde, and glue. Okay? Now, is that toxins your body has to deal with? Yes. Do you know you can actually put a piece of new carpet, 1 square inch of new carpet, in a like a container, put a mouse in there, screw the lid on tight where there's enough air, completely enough air for a day or 2 or 3, and within about 6 to 12 hours, the mouse will be dead because it's so toxic. Now watch this. Didn't have any symptoms with the vent at work. Didn't really have any symptoms with the carpet, okay? But then mom came in, and what does mom do? Mom likes everything clean, right? So she doesn't use thieves. She uses a Lysol with bleach, right? And it's funny, mom came, and that weekend that she came to help you clean, man, I started getting headaches. And all of a sudden, I just have not been good. And guess what everybody blames it on? The Lysol. Mom bought this Lysol, and it's toxic stuff. But was it the Lysol? No, it was the 2 years you've already been working in mold that actually got your system. It's slowly been coming down. Eventually, the mold would have been one thing by itself that would have got you. You didn't think it was the carpet, although the carpet actually had a big part to play with that too, but it didn't get you down low enough to have symptoms. What kicked you off the edge of the cliff was just one thing. It was the straw on the camel's back. Got it? Make sense? It wasn't one thing, it was what? A lot of things. You guys had a flat tire, changed the tire. You were in all the brake dust, and you were in the grease on the tire. You guys, somebody cleaned your car, and you forgot to tell them not to put the freshener in your car. So you drove for 2 weeks breathing new car smell. What is new car smell? It's glue, right? And so you guys are like, I love new car smell. No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. It smells like cancer to me. So do everybody get this? Yeah. So let's dive into this. So you guys got your guides. So we're gonna dive into. Make sure you look at that. So let's dive into this, okay? Before you look at it, there's one question. The next slide, watch. The next slide, we're gonna get into this. But the biggest question every single person has every single time is, why is everyone not affected equally? And so why is it some person goes to work and they fall apart? One person goes and they do okay. One person gets vaccinated at work, they're doing fine. One person gets MS. One person has a child that's all fully autistic. Why is everybody so different? And it's because everybody is so different. Got it? And the answer to that really is this. Individual toxic loads. Everybody's got a different toxic load. Like if you come to my house, you won't find anything at all that's toxic. You just won't. Not in my house. Not cleaners, not bleaches, not soaps, not shampoo, not deodorants, not toothpaste, not foods. You can go to my pantry, you won't find it there. So if you go to my, like the water, I got a whole house, like you just won't find toxicity at my house. So my load is probably less than most people, and I'm not bragging, it's a lot of work, mostly because of my wife. But now watch, my toxic load is different. So I could go into a situation where most people could go into and maybe have some issues, and I might not have it because my overall toxic load for my individual stuff is less. Make sense? Some of you guys go into a hotel, and instantly you walk in the front door, you're like, I smell mold. Nobody else can smell it but you. Anybody? You're like the canary in a coal mine. Anybody like this? Because you're already multi-chemical sensitive. Your system has already been exposed to a level that you already are that person who's already at the edge. Make sense? That's an important place to start looking. Got it? You don't want to be the canary in a coal mine, because guess what happens to canaries in coal mines? They generally are at the bottom of a cage, not moving, okay? So let's get into these. So first one, mold cleanse. Everybody just look at it, okay? Now I'm gonna answer the questions, which one do you need right now? So let's go through it. Mold cleanse. Do you see mold growing in your home, work, or school? Okay, now Dr. Kimberly and I moved into our house. We started smelling some mold about 6 months after we moved into our home. Couldn't figure it out. Got a beautiful bathroom, beautiful shower, but it smelled mostly in the shower. But we keep everything, I mean, immaculately clean. Shiny, everything's great. But you could smell it. And so we had somebody come in and check it out. They took the stainless steel drain cover off, and guess what they found surrounding it and all the way down the pipe? Thick mold. And so it was growing. So we cleaned it with, anybody guesses? Thieves. Now most of you guys say, well, you got to clean it with bleach. No, we're not using bleach in my house because bleach has Detoxes in it, which is on the top 10 list of all-time cancer-causing chemicals. You don't want bleach anywhere in your home. But Thieves actually kills mold. Okay? Now the problem with it is, if it's something like that and you just clean it up, great. But if it's actually in the home and in stuff, yeah, you got to do something a little bit more in depth than just some thieves. Yeah, you got to do some remediation. Got it? But having this, number one, do you suffer from chronic sinus issues for unknown reasons? You guys, some of you guys go, I've been doing a lot better since I started getting adjusted, and that's a great thing because detox pathways turn on, things are getting better. But then guess what? 6 months, 18 months, 36 months into care, all of a sudden my sinuses started coming back. Well, it was working, and now chiropractic's not working anymore. Guess what it is? You start getting adjusted, it just dropped all the toxic load in your bucket, and then guess what? Everything started what? Building back up. Even though you're at a new level of good, you're still in the same environment, and it's filling back up again. Got it? And so mold is a good part of that. Does spending time in a different location cause a noticeable difference in the symptoms? For instance, we had a family one time, both girls were having ear infections, and you don't get to come to my office and still have ear infections. I mean, kids do not have ear infections in my office. And I would adjust them, it'd go away, they'd come back, go away, come back, go away. They had a big, beautiful house here in Coppell, and every time they go on vacation, it'd go away. And they didn't tell me that till the last time. They're like, it's so weird. Everybody does so good on vacation. We come back, bam, they get an ear infection every time. And they had a brand new, beautiful home, seemingly brand new. It was like the second owner or third owner. And they had it looked at, and there was no mold. I said, there's mold in that house. You don't get ear infections in my office and not have them go away. So we actually had them. They had to believe me eventually because I wasn't going to let it go. I said, if I'm wrong, I'll pay for it. And they actually took a camera, poked it in the top of a wall and down into the wall between the upstairs bathroom and the girls' bedroom. And guess what they found through the entire wall of their bedroom between the bathroom and their full of mold. They had an undisclosed water leak, and they just painted everything perfect. It looked great. So it wasn't actually the mold, it was the mold spore toxin. And so it's not a mold allergy, it's a toxicity to the mold spore. Got it? Now how do you get rid of that? Well, I'm glad you asked. This is right here. It is the biotoxic mold detoxification package right there. So it's actually on your product list. It's really, really simple. You go through detox system, but at the same time you take pituitary, #1 activator for hypothalamus, and a complete mineral complex because it's going to pull some of those minerals out as you go through mold detoxification. It takes 1 to 3 rounds. We do a VCS test, make sure it's clear. If you've ever had mold toxicity, if you actually used to, had one lady, she had a thyroid issues, a bunch of hormone issues, and she actually was living with her grandparents for a while when she was younger, and massive mold issue. And she's not in a mold issue now, but she had post-mold syndrome. and actually once she went through this, it completely cleared up. She's not had an issue again. Got it? And so some of you guys have post-mold, not active mold, and we can tell a difference in that. So that's mold. Everybody got it? Okay, let's move to the next one, okay? Liver gallbladder. Have you had your gallbladder removed? Right? That's a question you don't have to answer. I have a lot of people go, well, I don't have a gallbladder, so I don't need to cleanse it. Well, guess what? You need it more than the person that has a gallbladder. The reason for that is if you remove the gallbladder, which is like a bag that holds all the bile, and then at nighttime it goes out, what ends up happening is there's more pressure on your liver, and you end up backing up into the bile ducts of the liver to make a makeshift gallbladder. And if you leave bile backed up into your liver, guess what happens to your liver? It gets backed up too, right? That's why we want to really, really make sure we take care of this. This is, there's a picture somewhere. Maybe they got rid of it because it was gross. It was up here earlier today. They did. But when you get, like, listen, when you do a liver gallbladder flush, guess what you get out? A lot of stones. Some of you guys don't even think you have stones. But you, like the first time I did it, I passed over 200 stones. Wow. Because they come out of your liver, they come out of your gallbladder. They're just full. And you guys think it hurts? It doesn't hurt at all. It's just, it's simple. It doesn't hurt? No. It doesn't hurt at all. And what ends up happening is some of you guys have like your liver, like you look like this, like your chest is not as big as this, or your belly's not as big as this part. And sometimes that is just literally a liver that's actually starting to, like a fatty liver. You ever heard of fatty liver? Mm-hmm. This is basically how this happens. Got it? Yeah. And you start backing it up, but you start condensing that into stones into your gallbladder. Now, why would you need that? Do you eat a lot of fast food, like bad fats, and your body has to deal with those because they're toxins. Bad fats are toxins. Got it? So you have to deal with that. Have you drink alcohol regularly, like a lot? Had a guy come in, one of the craziest ones I've ever seen was a guy that was drinking like a beer every night. He wasn't, quote, an alcoholic, but he loved a beer in the evening time, like 4 or 5 days a week. And man, his gallbladder liver flush, boom, it looked like Niagara Falls. It was crazy. And so some of you guys that enjoy some alcohol will really back a liver up. That's another one. And watch this. What's the last thing say?
Medication.
Medication. Your liver has phase 1, phase 2 detox from medication. If you're even on one medication, just one, your liver is going to be backed up. Some of you guys, I had somebody come in the other day on 11 or 12 medications a day. Let me tell you something. As your liver backs up, you start having symptoms like insulin sensitivity issues, acid reflux. A lot of these things are associated with livers that aren't doing very well, okay? And so that's a reason to do it. Is it hard? No, it's very simple. The gallbladder liver here, we used to sell all the products up front from Hold Clark. Can't get it now, it's just a recipe list. So you don't have to buy anything except for going to the store. So if you go to Natural Grocers, you can take this as a grocery list, take it in, get all the stuff you need, and then do it exactly the way it says. And it's really not hard, it's very simple. Got it? So if you need that, just grab one of these sheets. Okay, got it? Everybody with me? Okay, let's move on, here we go. Kidney cleanse. Have you suffered with bouts of urinary tract infections? Okay. Or have you had or do you have chronic kidney infections? And oftentimes people that have chronic bladder infections, they eventually turn into what? Chronic what? Kidney infections. And watch this. Isn't it interesting that it's always the same kidney? Ask somebody that has kidney infections. It's always the same kidney. Always. Why is that? Do you just, like, are bacteria left-handed and always go to the left side or something like that? Why? It's because you usually have one kidney that's weaker and more prone to infection than another. And what's the determining factor on that, by the way? Come on, structurally. Say it. Spine. So if your spine is shifted, you'll have one nerve supply that's better to one kidney than the other, and you'll see one is more prone to infection. Got it? And so we'll get to that here in a little bit. But do you suffer from chronic kidney pain in your low back? Where are your kidneys at, everybody? One of the DDXs, or differential diagnosis for low back pain, is kidney issue, right? So kidneys they're about right here. They're a little higher in your back, but they're right here. So you guys may have had back pain that's kidney related and not known that it was kidneys, okay? But if you have frequent urinary tract infections, kidney infections, or back kidney area issues like this, especially if you had urinary retention or stopping a stream, or burning on urination frequent like this is a good cleanse for you. Got it? And it's not hard. Okay? Instant, easy stuff. Okay. Next, parasite cleanse. Have you traveled to a foreign country recently? Have you recently suffered from food poisoning? This is a big one, okay? Now, a lot of you guys are like, well, no. Listen, this just happened over in Southlake. We had a little 14-year-old girl that came in. She just went to the Dominican Republic. Thin, beautiful girl. She's awesome. She came back. She had this weird, like she's just got these weird bowel sounds. Like her just going nuts all the time. And she's like, it's usually not like that. I'm kind of embarrassed because like if it's in a quiet room, it's so loud you can hear it. And then fast forward about a week or two, she literally looks like she's almost pregnant. Like her little belly is distended, and some of you guys have some distension because of some parasites you didn't even know, and you just let it go and let it go and let it go, right? And watch this. Dr. Kimberly caught it immediately. We did a parasite cleanse, which I did last year. I did this one because we're always going somewhere. And it's very simple. It's just a couple different products. It's this stuff right here, Parazap. You just go through the process. It's really cheap. It's not expensive. You just go through the bottle and do exactly what it says, and it clears them all out. Literally, it was just a couple of days. Her belly completely flat again. No sounds, nothing. Got it? And watch this. How many people in this room think that probably everybody has a parasite or a parasite infection of some kind?
Absolutely.
Just so you know, 100% of you guys have it. But it's usually, just so you know, it is. It's 100%. I'll give you my house if I'm wrong. I can test anyone here. You're going to have parasites. Now, the difference is all of us have it, but it's a symbiotic relationship. You don't get, unless you're really, really sick, they never actually take over and have some kind of big, your body keeps them at bay and it's okay. But I'm telling you, if you've been overseas, you had some food poisoning, you've had some of this weird stuff, you need to go ahead and do the cleanse. Got it? Now some of you guys, it may be a secondary thing. Some of you guys will have some kind of primary thing you need to do, and this may be a second thing that you need to do tonight. Got it? Maybe you do one first and then this, okay? Next, heavy metal detox. Now, this gets...
What's the difference between bacteria and parasite?
So what happens is it's definitely different. So bacteria and parasites, but we treat it almost similar because you got to get rid of the small bacterial intestinal overgrowth, because you shouldn't have like a candida and yeast and all that stuff going all the way up into your small bowel. And what ends up happening is, as you have food poisoning or whatever, anybody had food poisoning? Raise your hand if you've had food poisoning. You did not have to think about it very long if you had it. No. Like it's like you had food poisoning. Like, did it take a little while to get over that?
Yes.
Yeah, and your gut is jacked up for a while. And so what you got to do is you got to take something to really wash that bad bacteria out and re-inoculate. Now, as far as if you've had food poisoning, she put this on here as a secondary because having food poisoning will generally take the parasites that you have and then just set them loose and say, come on, everybody, let's have a party and multiply, which is why if you've had food poisoning, you want to do that. But if you've had food poisoning recently, like Kimberly, beginning of last year, we had some tea. We had a thing in the office, and she had some tea, but we left it in the refrigerator for like 3 or 4 weeks like this, and it was just in a jug. She thought it was just fine, smelled fine, so she went ahead and drank some of this tea out of the fridge. She was so sick, you guys. My wife had, I'm not to get too graphic, but both ends for like 2 days from the tea. She hasn't actually had tea since then, but she was really, really sick. Do you know her gut was really bad? We had to go through the parasite cleanse. We had to do GI reboot, and I'll get that in here in a second. Got it? So now, heavy metal detox. This might be the most complicated one as far as how you guys look at it. It's not that complicated. If you look right here, this is, right here, the heavy metals urine challenge. It's just a 6-hour heavy metal urine challenge, and it will tell you what heavy metals that you have. And the list is a whole lot longer than copper, cadmium, arsenic, lead, and mercury. It goes through like, don't quote me, it's like 27 different heavy metals that you might have. And it gives you quantitatively how much you have in your system. Okay? Does that make sense? And then you go through heavy metal detox, and then we do what? We test it again, make sure everything's out of there. Got it? Now, who needs that? Well, if you've had your silver fillings recently removed, or you need them removed. So does anybody have a silver filling in the room? You probably do. But they've actually shown, I have a video, it's a 30-year-old amalgam filling in a tooth. Okay? It was originally pulled from a cadaver, so it's going through a lifetime, right? You think if you have them long enough, they eventually stop off-gassing. they never stop off-gassing. And if you irritate it at all, like you hit it with a little eraser from a pencil, or you heat it up in just like the hot tea or hot coffee temperature, and you put it behind a green screen, you'll actually see smoke coming off, but the smoke is actually mercury amalgam smoke coming off of it, and it's going into your brain, and you're breathing it into your lungs non-stop. Okay? So if you have mercury fillings, you have to get rid of that stuff. And if you have it now, you really need to make sure that you're detoxing. The problem with it is you can never really detox well if you don't get rid of the source. So guess what that means? You have to get rid of what? The fillings first, and then go through the process of getting rid of it. Kimberly had 9 amalgam fillings originally. So she got those out after she had Zachary. When we had Zachary tested, he was off the chart for mercury and lead. We're like, where did he get mercury from? He didn't get vaccinated and get all this stuff. How did he get mercury? And guess what? It's because when she was pregnant, and watch this, she went through the amalgam. This is a pre-amalgam removal package, so it shows you exactly how to do it. It's several pages. It's not complicated. Just read it. But you'll go through a process of how to prepare your body to have your amalgams removed. So don't just run out and do it. And then you get it done. There's stuff you do that day before and after, and then you go through a process of stuff to do to get rid of the mercury afterwards. Got it? And there's stuff in there for what the dentist needs to know. So make sure if you need that you grab it. There's a sheet right up here, okay? But Zoe came along after she'd gone through the detox protocol. Well, Zachary was full to his eyeballs in mercury, so we wanted to check Zoe. So we did a urine challenge on Zoe. Guess how much mercury she had? None. Couldn't even detect it. It was nothing in her entire system. 0. What was the difference in the 2 kids? Mom's source for the amalgam fillings. Got it? So it is definitely in you. Now, it can be from immunizations, flu shots. If you work at hospitals, you're going to have a lot of those. If you've never detoxed from mercury, from immunizations in the past, you'll probably need that. I worked at a hospital for years, and I thought, hey, if it's free, I'll take 2. And so I didn't know any better, and off we went. But I can tell you, when I went through the detox protocol, I overdosed on the chelating product that pulls the amalgam filling out, and I had a full-blown mercury toxic reaction. It almost shut me down. I went into a full aggressive rage, like loving Dr. David. I was like Jekyll and Hyde. I remember driving my kids to school one day, and they were in the back seat just doing little kid stuff. And I literally, if I could have got to them, I'd have been in jail. I will pull this car over like this. And all of a sudden I was like, what the heck is going on? Like I just blew up out of the blue. So just so you know, we're going to do this safely. Next, do you have tattoos with red ink? Red ink is mercury filled. Right, so if you don't want red ink on your tattoos. Do you eat large amounts of tuna, shark, swordfish, and Atlantic salmon? It's very high. Right now, swordfish has about 0.87 micrograms per kilogram of mercury on it, so it's very high. Got it? Yes. It depends on where, right? So you want to get Pacific rather than Atlantic. Atlantic is going to have a lot more in it. You want to be. Always remember this. Be Pacific is where you get your food.
Okay.
Be Pacific.
I like it.
Yes.
So if you get a small amount of mercury from the tuna,
Your body's always detoxing. Your body's always detoxing. It's just that when it comes to very much mercury at all, it can't handle it. You're not actually made to eat fish with any amounts of mercury in it. And so it adds up, but the difference is you guys might get away with it for 100 years, never have any issues at all, if it's at lower levels for everything else in your system for detoxification. The problem with it is everywhere you go in your entire life today, your body's soaking in toxins like a sponge or like an alcoholic at the bar. Like it's just, you're just taking it everywhere. I mean, you can't go to a public restroom without the little spray things. Psst, psst. You go in there, it smells like you get into a taxi cab or an Uber or something, and they got the little thing hanging there. Like it's just everywhere you go. Got it? So next, GI reboot. Now, I mean, literally half this room will probably do GI reboot. GI reboot is something that I would suggest most people do in the spring every year. Okay? Now, it says why to do it. Do you suffer with irregular bowel movements? Fluctuate from loose to hard bowels. Some of you guys go back and forth. This is a good reason to do this. And let me tell you why. GI reboot is for, number one, that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, okay? But it's also for the sludge layer that is now caking the inside of your bowels that needs to be pulled off so that you don't develop polyps and they turn cancerous, okay? That's a big part of this. And as you start having inflammation of the bowel, you start developing porous bowel or leaky gut symptoms, and you start absorbing proteins through the bowel that you should not have in that size into your bloodstream, which will be linked to autoimmunity. You have got to get this under control. Got it? And this is so easy. 14 days. It's simple. It's easy. It's also going to help you get rid of some sugar cravings like nobody's business. When you really need this, when you get done with this, you'll be like, I can walk into Haagen-Dazs and be like, nope, I'm good. Right? So it really helps with that. Okay? Do you suffer from chronic stomach pain? Some of you guys that are acid reflux people are just people who need to do a GI reboot. Got it? If you haven't done that yet, make sure you get that. Do you suffer with mood changes, low energy, and brain fog? Where is the majority of the chemical transmitter for your brain, serotonin, made? 85%, Deidre gets it, it's 85% is in your gut. So if your gut has an issue, you're not making serotonin and you're not going to feel great. Got it? Low energy and stress. Guys got that? Yes, question.
Since you brought it up, are colonoscopies recommended?
Are colonoscopies recommended? Boy, I can tell you what, I might get into trouble for this one. But if you look right now, the stats actually show that getting colonoscopies has actually increased colorectal deaths and colorectal issues in general. The countries that actually do not perform colonoscopies have lower colorectal cancer rates and lower colorectal cancer deaths than countries that actually perform it in general. Right now, the American Medical Association says that if you're over a certain age, male and female, that everybody should get colorectal exams, a colonoscopy, to actually be proactive to catch a polyp before it becomes cancerous. But guess what you find out? Even if it looks like it's precancerous, going in there and taking it out actually doesn't decrease the likelihood of that exactly thing becoming cancerous to begin with, because the thing that caused it is not actually the polyp, it's actually the environment creating the cancer. So actually just changing your lifestyle, doing the 5 essentials, decreases colorectal cancer more than trying to go in there and start chopping polyps out. And just so you know, there's a percentage of people that actually make it out of the hospital. A friend of mine's dad went just regular old colonoscopy and he died at the hospital from a colonoscopy, bled to death. And so just so you know, statistically it doesn't decrease your likelihood of prolonging your life. It's actually, that's a statistic. It's not Dr. David Herbism craziness. You can look that up yourself, Medscape, if you will, or American Journal of American Medical Association. But this is a good one. Everybody with me? Okay, let's go. Mega detox protocol. Have you recently or will you undergo a procedure where you're put on antibiotics or pain medications? It's a big one. Why? Because it's going to toxify what? The liver and the bowels, okay? Have you recently been exposed to pesticides? I think Costco or somebody just stopped selling Roundup weed killer. Did you guys see that? Why? Cancer. It is a official done deal. When there are 3,700 court cases right now, back to back, waiting to get into the court, where people who have cancer, who are scheduled to die, have scientific validated proof that it was caused by Roundup weed killer. And the last guy won $77 million. Right now, one guy won $160 million, but they're never going to enjoy it, so what's the deal? And so right now, if they have to pay it, it would be like $400 billion or something like that. I know, so it's the end of Monsanto. Although Bear Askren bought Monsanto, got rid of the name, they've absorbed it, so they get rid of that dirty name. But have you recently suffered from a nagging cold flu that won't go away? This is a really good one to do early before the hot summer months as well. This is a simple one. How do you do this one? There's actually a, where's it at? There is a, right here. This is it right here. It says Mega Detox System. You take daily detox, and what you're going to do is, it says days 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, do this. And then day 2, 5, 8, 11, 14, do this. And wait, let me just explain it real simply. Day 1, you take a single dose. Day 2, you take a double dose. And day 3, you take a triple dose. Then on day 4, you go back to 1 again. Single dose, then double dose, then triple dose. And you keep doing it until you're done. Got it? It's very simple. What you end up doing is you're pressing it and relaxing it, pressing it and relaxing it. And that basically back and forth, just pulls this stuff out of you like nothing else. If you've never done a mega dose on this, it'll actually pull your glutathione levels through the roof. And most of you guys don't even know that your antioxidants are, you're bankrupt, basically. Okay? So this is a really good one. Okay? Easy stuff. These will be up here as well. Next, juice flush. Do you need to reset your organ or digestive system function quickly? This is a very fast, quick way to do it. Now this one is, if you saw it, where's it at? This one says juice fast, okay, recipe 10-day fast. And as soon as I say 10-day juice fast, everybody looks like Steve's face. Whoa. I think I want to do the GI reboot, not the juice fast, right? Now here's the thing, could you do less than 10 days? Sure you can. I mean, I talked to Kimberly at lunch today. She goes, if they're really, I'm not trying to throw in the bus, but she goes, if they're really wimpy, they can just do a day, just have them do a day, right? But here's the thing, you really want to try to get past 3 days. Why 3 days? Anybody? It takes about 72 hours for your insulin receptors to come back online again, which is why if you're ever doing a fasting or whatever else, what's the worst day? About the, not day one. Every day is bad. So I have to fast. I'm out. Who would buy this guy to the party? So, but day 3 is really when you want to punch somebody in the face for like a piece of bread or something. Got it? So try to just get through day 3. If it's just a 3-day juice fast, it will really, really help. Also, giving your digestive system a break is very, very good for you. The Bible says when you fast, not if you fast. It wants you to fast, okay? And so doing a juice fast, it immediately absorbs right into the system. You don't have to digest. You don't have to use all that energy. The lining of the gut gets a break. I mean, it's really good for you to do that. Got it? Okay, yes.
And also, it's nice because you don't have to plan for meals.
You don't have to plan for meals. That's true. It's awesome, right? It's good stuff. All right, so there is the juice cleanse, okay? Now, Kickstart Cleanse. As soon as I mentioned that this will stimulate weight loss, every lady in my house like, okay, I'm going to come to that talk and learn about the thing. So yes, this does stimulate weight loss. I have a lot of you guys that will do this. I literally had a lady come in Friday, and she was like, yeah, swimsuit season. I'm like, whatever swimsuit. But it's what it is if you are carrying weight, it is not a healthy thing. You know that just that like 5 to 7 pounds being heavier increases your likelihood of diabetes by 20 to 30%. And so we need to get that off of you. Got it? And so this is a really good way to do it. Have you plateaued in your weight loss? So this is a really good way to break through that as well. Last but not least, are you struggling to eat healthy and need a diet plan to follow? Some of you guys just I mean, literally, when we do consults with you guys just go like, just tell me what to do. Just give me, I don't want to have to think about it, just give me exactly what to do. And some of you guys, I do well with that too. Like I'm telling Kimberly, just give me my vitamins. I don't even care. Just tell me what to do. Just give them to me and I'll take them, right? It's the same thing with food, and during that time you can do it. And this is not hard. This is easy. Especially you're just going to do a shake in the morning, shake at lunch, and then an advanced planned meal in the evening time. You'll take basically all the things to kickstart your metabolism, which is all the products that go with that. Got it? Now, some of you guys go, well, how do I eat a shake at work? I can't eat a shake at work. Yeah, you can. Just get a little shaker bottle, right? They sell them at Sprouts. They sell them at Natural Grocers, Walmart, Market Street. It's just a little bottle, got a lid, clips closed. It's got a little spring-looking ball thing in it. You just shake it up. That's what Kimberly did when we went to well, she did in Zimbabwe too. But we went to the Olympic team in 2012. She was doing this at the Olympics. I'm like, baby, I'm not doing the Kickstart. I'm not doing that while I'm in the Olympics. That was me. I probably gained 4 pounds, maybe 6. But this is what we do. Got it? Easy stuff. Can you do that? Mm-hmm. Easy stuff. That is sitting up here as well. Kickstart Cleanse. It's a couple pages. Also, I like it because it tells you exactly what to do, when to take the supplement, exactly what I want you to do. I mean, everything. And then it gives you timing. Anybody like to just how many minutes before, how many minutes after? You guys like me? It's literally all drawn out. Got it? So when you tell me it's complicated, guess what I'm going to tell you? No, it's not. It's right there. It's good. Okay. next, okay? Vitamin D, megadose. Raise your hand if you've megadosed with vitamin D with us before. Raise it high. I want to see how many. So about a third of you guys. Why should you do it? Number one, you've gone way too long. Right now, what is the height of the cold and flu season?
Fall, winter.
It's in the winter time, but what is the month that is actually the highest?
February?
Well, it depends on the year, but it's generally before we get to times where the sun is actually really stronger again. So it's actually just before you really actually start to get back into the sun. In fact, guess when it is? It's probably right about now. Why is it? Because you work all week long, and then guess what? God just haphazardly made the weather every single weekend rainy and cold. Anybody? It's 80 on Wednesday, and then 65 and raining all day on Saturday, right? Just so we know, sunny and 81 this weekend. Can I get an amen from somebody? Amen. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, now, why else do you need this? Well, if you've got challenges with the immune system, you've got low levels, you should get your vitamin D levels checked, and let me tell you why. Yes. Your doctor said if your vitamin D level is over 30, you're going to be fine, okay? But this is the chart that talks about disease prevalence with vitamin C and vitamin D. Here's 30 right here. This is what your doctor says it needs to be. Well, the only thing that you're going to prevent with a 30 vitamin D is rickets, okay? But if you are between 70 and 90, everybody listen to me, this is not Dr. Davidism, this is Journal of the American Medical Association, you will prevent cancer. 77% of all cancers will be prevented if you have a vitamin D between 70 and 90. Some of you guys have never even checked to see what your vitamin D levels is. Yeah. And I can tell you, some of you guys, well, I take it every day, I don't need to check it. You probably take some crappy stuff, and let me tell you something, most of you guys taking anything out, and again, you guys think I'm trying to sell you in vitamins. Listen, the last thing I want to be is a vitamin salesman, but I can tell you this, I have done research for decades, and you guys are wasting your money. The most expensive vitamin you'll ever spend money on is one that is absolutely trash. Doesn't do anything for you anyway. Got it? And so this is what we do. So how does it work? How do you actually do a vitamin D megadose? You do it is a whole bottle, but for a couple days actually. So it's like a bottle a day. And it depends on your weight. You're going to do 1,000 IUs per pound of body weight per day, right? For just a handful of days. Got it? And it is a lot. But then as soon as you're done, you go to a maintenance dose and it stays it up high. Got it? It's a great way to get over a cold or the flu or something like this. Some of you guys that raise your hand, it's because you had something and I told you to megadose and bam, what happened? Gone. Right? Exactly. Okay? Core chiropractic. Now, why am I going to throw this in here? Yes?
So, say for instance, you just like the sound of these, but you don't have the symptoms, and you did it. Would there be an adverse effect?
There's not an adverse effect. There's not an adverse effect. You literally just raise it up and be good to go. In fact, through the winter months, I always try to bump my vitamin D intake up quite a bit for this one reason, because I'm just not out like I want to be.
Would that be the same with any other protocols? You
can do any of these, but here's the thing. You guys could, someone could come up here and buy all the stuff and do it would be complicated if you started wanting to do all of the things. Really, I want to try and keep it simple. Most of you guys, there'll be probably about 2 to 5% of you guys that will need 3 things tonight, okay? The rest of you guys, probably 30-40% will need 2 things, and then probably about 60% of you guys just need to do 1. Got it? And some of you guys that are husbands that are ornery, just do 1. Okay? Got it? Make sense? Got it? So now, core chiropractic. Why would I throw this in here on a spring clean your body talk? If your system is not working great, it's almost impossible to detox. And I'd love to sell you a bunch of stuff, but again, guys, you have to have a nerve system working great. I've had some crazy, like Anjali, can I brag about you?
Yes!
So the last X-ray she took in 2018 was the best curve she's ever had in her neck, and she has been working her full head off trying to get her spine curved again. I mean, hard, right? Like a whip at your back, exactly. Took her x-rays, we looked at them together today. Can I tell them?
Yes.
So 48-degree curve in her neck, perfect upper cervical angles. And what's the first thing you said right after you saw that? Other than, thank you, hallelujah. That's why what?
Oh, I've been feeling better.
That's why things are so much better. And it is, and listen, it is a gift having a nerve system that is good. Yep. And let me tell you something, just because you don't feel horrible doesn't mean your nerve system is not compromised and you are literally going down a road that you don't want to get to. And so, guys, some of you guys have been in care for years and years. I had today someone start their 13th year, someone start their 9th year, someone start their 6th year. Last week, 2 people started their 10th year. You guys started your 10th year. 3 weeks ago, I had a couple people start their 20th year. Like a month ago, I had someone start their 21st year. Like, let me tell you something. The power is in the longevity, right? Like, remember compound interest? I don't think it exists anymore. Remember compound interest? Right? You could really just put something, just keep putting it in a little bit, and it just is amazing, right? It says the seventh wonder of the world. Well, consistency in your life is the seventh wonder of the world, right? But the spine, it really is the house. Some of you guys have not ever had your spine checked. Guess what, guests? It is the absolute end-all, be-all, and what I feel like every single person needs to do. Get it checked. Raise your hand if you've talked to somebody in the last week or month that you said needs to get their spine checked. You just try to talk to them about chiropractic. Raise your hand if you talk to somebody, right? You've been talking to your man, Deidre. You better raise your hand up, right? But all of you, most of you guys, and that's why we actually get into this, because I want to make sure you guys do this. And it's all connected. I won't go through it. But here are the symptoms. And these are the most common symptoms that you have, that there's an issue with the nerve supply, and most people don't know it. Most people think like it's headaches, right? Headaches, most common thing you can have, right? It's the third most leading illness in the world, right? So many people have them, it's like it's no big deal. I just take a little Tylenol. But if you have 3 headaches a week, you're 50% more likely to die of a stroke, right? And yet people are like, no, it's no big deal, right? No, it's a huge deal, you guys. If it's caused by an interruption in the nerve supply, it's going to cause you to die sooner. Do something about it. You wouldn't drive your car with a check engine light on. Well, some of you guys would, right? But you shouldn't. You shouldn't do that. Don't do this to your wife. Don't do that. So this is a 25-year time lapse of a spine that's not getting adjusted, and this is a spine that does not have a curve in it. And what you can see is a spine that doesn't have a curve will literally break that down, and you can see the disc pushing in that. And what's happening here? Over time, it's what? It's buckling, and this is what the average person is going through today without symptoms. And it's hard to believe that someone like this or this doesn't have any symptoms at all, but it's really what happens. And watch this. What's happening to their body's ability to detox? It's getting less and less. And so what's happening to aging? It's accelerated aging because of nervous system and because of the inability to detox like we're supposed to. So what's the first step to detoxification? Get your adjustments and do what at home? Do your rehab. I just met with somebody today. She has been the poster child for exercises at home for years. She started her 9th year today, and she has only been doing her stuff at home 1 day a week. And she admitted it to me, and guess what? Her head forward posture increased by an entire centimeter from last time to this time. So it actually got a little what? Worse, although joints look good, discs look good because she's actually getting adjusted regularly, but she stopped doing the rehab, so it actually started to put a little bit more pull, and she's actually had some symptoms creep back in. She goes, I knew it. So she got back to it today. Got it? So again, we want to start with this first. So let's do this. I'm going to take just a couple questions. I love this. On action steps. So what are some of the first action steps you need to take? What's the first one tonight before you leave? Decide what you need. Ask me if you got questions. Also, Dorota and Rebecca are here. They're going to also ask or answer some questions. What's priority? What do I need to do? How do I get the protocols? What products do I need? That stuff. They're going to have it all right there. What's the next one? What's the next action step? Guess. If you've not had your spine checked, guess what I'm going to say to do?
Check.
You better smile that pretty smile right there when it comes to smile. It's still in your lap. Yeah, get it checked, okay? But we want to really connect you. Some of you guys have not connected with us yet on Herb Family Friends on Facebook. I actually created a recipe myself. I want to brag on myself right now. I made cinnamon rolls. Raise your hand if you like cinnamon rolls. Thank you, Jesus. I made an advanced plan keto, taste good cinnamon roll recipe. And I posted it. I haven't got it all dialed in just yet, but you actually can take it from this. But it's on Herb Family Friends on Facebook. I had told Kim, I said, well, some people aren't on Facebook. They don't want to get on Facebook. She goes, tell them not to be silly. Get on Facebook, but only be friends with Herb Family Friends group, and so they can get the stuff. I'm like, I'll tell them. Any questions before we end up? Any questions, you guys? Let's go here and then here.
Okay, so can you do 2 cleanses at one time?
Yes, you can, depending on the cleanse. Give me a question. What and what?
Kidney and parasite.
That one I wouldn't do. Okay, I would actually back them up. So do the first one, do the second one. Got it?
No matter which one's first?
I would probably do the parasite first and then the kidney.
Okay.
Actually, Hulda Clark says do parasite before you do other stuff, like the gallbladder cleanse, but you don't have to. So, got it? Good. Other questions?
Can you do the gallbladder one and the kidney?
You can, but on the gallbladder one, you want to do that one first and then the kidney. Good? Yep. Liver and GI. You could, but the liver one is so fast, it literally is just it's like a Saturday morning and you're done.
Oh, it's just one day.
It's just a one, like it's the night before and then the morning, and you get a little diarrhea, and all those stones come out. They're soft, the gallstones. They all come out in the toilet, and then you can jump right into the other. Right? It's good. Okay.
This protocol's gonna be online.
The protocols may be online, but they're here, so just come grab them. They'll also have them up front. Okay? And listen, if you're leaving with a protocol, make sure you have the protocol sheet tonight. Got it? Okay?
What do you say to start with first, if you're thinking about liver, gallbladder, GI reboot, and juice flush? Which one is the more important here?
I would start with liver, gallbladder, and then I would do the GI reboot. Those two are big. They'll do what you're trying to do with the juice flush, and then I would put the juice flush off for probably a month. Maybe 2 weeks to a month. Good. Got it? Other questions?
So for the liver gallbladder
Yep.
cleanse, that would be the kidney colon?
No, liver gallbladder, you don't need to buy anything for liver gallbladder. You just need to get the protocol sheet and go to natural grocers and get all your stuff. Epsom salts and grapefruit juice and olive oil and all the good stuff. Got it? Don't need to buy anything at all. Got it? Goji berry, yeah. All right, so if you guys would bow your heads. Father, we love you and praise you. I just thank you, Father, for information that you never made junk, that we're not stuck, we're not bound. The Father, that you said that you came that we would have freedom, and you said that he who the Son sets free is free indeed, and that we are free in Jesus' name. God, we just ask that you would just take God-sized steps towards us as we take small steps towards you in our health, in our activities, that as we go through these cleanses and protocols, God, that you just show yourself amazingly, gloriously, abundantly, even embarrassingly blessing all of us across our lives, our health, our relationships, our finances, our futures, Father, as we serve the purpose you've given us in the lives in these flesh bodies that you've given us to live in. So God, we just love you and praise you. Ask a blessing on every single person here as they get their product, as they start their protocols. In Jesus' name, amen.